Periscope to participate in the comments because I can't see the comments going on here because I'm broadcasting over here. Hello, you beautiful people. It is day 19 of our 20 broadcasts celebrating 20 years of self-management for Actors Goodness from me, Bonnie Gillespie. That's my name right there. Thank you so much for joining in. Instagram joining in behind the scenes. If you'd like to participate in live broadcast comments, come on over to Facebook or YouTube or Periscope where the comments are all showing up in one place for me over here. Thank you, beautiful people, for being here live. And those of you watching in replay, comments will remain open at the Facebook version of this broadcast so that you can continue to get questions answered long after. Periscope checking in from John. Thank you. Melissa, day 19. Woohoo at Facebook. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Beautiful people, both of you joining us in the dojo for SMFA Summer School. So freaking excited. And of course, the celebrities in the house. It's Tracy Twinkie Bird, casting director / author / goddess / very good friend. Nadine reporting in from YouTube. All right, beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining in. We're going to talk about money today. Got my abundance shirt on. We are definitely going to be talking about some survival job action, ways that you can get a little more creative with the money that is flowing in, because if your rent's not paid, you're kind of miserable and nervous and walking around angsty about your creative career. And so we need to make sure that things are in a good place financially so that you can relax about the creative process and your role in it. So as crass as it may seem for artistes to have a conversation about money, sorry, we won't get paid. Not sorry, we're going to talk about money. So let's get that abundance flowing and keep in mind, first and foremost, money is a mindset. Couple things. Back up. Y'all know we're doing 100 days summer school, SMFA, getting gear for the next tier live. I want to make sure that if you are planning to join us, you get that done soon. We've got like 3 days before we completely close off registration, and then we will be closed as we do SMFA summer school. So let me put a link up here for where all the SMFA 20-year extravaganza and these 20 free training broadcasts. You can get all the replays and all the information about our scholarship to SMFA Summer School, as well as information on how to register outright. If you're like, yep, I'm in, let me join you for 100 days of this goodness. Right there, BonnieGillespie.com/20. It's the link in bio over at Instagram, and should be the link in bio pretty much everywhere. If you're watching in replay, it's not the link in bio anymore, because that's what you do. You change out the link in bio based on what it is that you want people to go look at. And right now, we want you to go look at this. So please take a look at that. Those of you who have applied for scholarships, the scholarship deadline is Thursday, the 30th of May. I watched another round of scholarship entries that have come in over the past couple of days. Y'all are awesome. All the information about the scholarship is right here, BonnieGillespie.com/20. And we will be announcing scholarship winners, plural, because Mama's generous, on Friday, the 31st, during your bonus live broadcast, and that one is going to take place on Friday the 31st at noon, right back here. So this will be not a part of the 20 days of free training, but it is an Ask Me Anything. So this is the time to come in and get all your questions ready for me during the live broadcast on Friday, because anything that we did not cover as a part of this very specifically focused 20 days of free training, I will make sure to come back around for that Ask Me Anything on Friday to get your questions answered. Kim says, I love this topic. Good. I do too. You know, when people are not interested in talking about money, it just tells me they got issues around money. Because money is just an exchange of value for value. And I think that's why it gets sticky for people. Because if you undervalue what it is that you do as an artist, if you have a low state of enoughness when it comes to the value that you add to a project as an artist, as a creative, as a storyteller, of course it's going to be sticky for you to talk about money. Because money is an exchange of value for value. That's it. That's all it is. So if you find yourself getting jealous or triggered by somebody else's overabundance, and you find yourself saying things like, they didn't even earn it. They didn't even work that hard. They're not even that talented. It's not fair. They grew up in money, or whatever kind of nonsense you feel like you need to comment on somebody else's financial situation. Check that. Check that. Because if you're walking around going, all rich people are greedy, you are telling the universe, I don't want to be rich, because you don't want to be that thing that you're placing judgment on. So you're at cross purposes. If you're constantly going, why can't I get more money? Why can't I get more money? Why can't I get more money? But at the same time, you are judging people who got more money. Think about that. You are telling the universe mixed messages, and the universe is going to pick the one that you're heaviest about. And the one that you're heaviest about is judging those people about their money, and you need to make sure that you clean up that energy, because other people's money is not really your business. Your business is yours. And so really pay attention to messages that you may be unconsciously putting out there, subconsciously putting out there, so that if there is a mindset tweak that needs to take place with regard to an exchange of value for value, you get that taken care of. Because one of the things that happens, especially in show business, is we struggle at the copy credit meals stage a lot longer than we have to. Copy credit meals, of course, is that phase of everybody's creative career where you're in an apprenticeship. You're working for the experience. You're working for the relationships. You're working for the credits, for the footage. You're putting in your time to show, hey, I'm worth banking on. And we all have that phase. We all have. When I first started writing for actors, y'all, okay, this book makes me a good amount of money every month. Bless you, sweet little book. I love you so much. You do so good for me. Thank you, thank you. And thank you for buying my sweet little book and helping me pay rent every month. I so appreciate it. When I started writing my first column for actors 20 years ago, I was paid 10 cents a word. I was an actor, and my survival job, one of many, but my survival job that led to this and the me that you know now, was me getting paid 10 cents a word to go interview casting directors. And I knew that's the copy credit meals stage of my writing career. I'm getting paid very little for people to rent my words, but that's the part that's important. I said, for 10 cents a word, you're renting, you're not buying, which meant they did not own the rights. That's why I continue to be able to publish anything that I want from the original interviews that I conducted, because they were only renting, not buying. And over time, of course, I get paid a whole lot more. I don't get paid per word for my writing, because the exchange for value increased over time. But even when it was in the copy credit meals stage of its value for value exchange, I never undersold it. I knew the value. I knew that I was retaining the rights to my words because they were going to hold value for me later, and I was going to bank on that. And every time a check comes for the book from our distributor, my husband says the same words every time. He goes, look, money for your words. And those are words that he has said since the very beginning. When I first started writing for actors and he was new in my life and a check would come in, he'd say, look, money for your words. And that is a celebration of value for value. And what I see happen a lot with artists is we have a thread in our Facebook group for self-management for actors. If you're not a member, come join. We do vet every member, so make sure you fill out the little form at Facebook about why you want to be a member, so that we can be sure that, you're going to understand the rules and play nice in our space, because it is a workout space for the self-management for actors principles. We have a thread that goes up every Saturday, Self-Promo Saturday. And I am always fascinated by someone who will come in and celebrate promo, I booked this thing. And then when people start saying, oh my God, I'm so excited for you. This is so cool. This looks so great. They'll reply in those nested comments, oh, it's non-union, or it's just a student film. It's just a low budget indie. And I'm like, you are telling the universe, I undervalue being valued. And when you put that energy out there, the universe responds in kind. So do not diminish your victories, no matter how small they are, because every time you diminish a victory, you're telling the universe, I don't need it. And then you wonder why it's not coming. So even when you're in the copy credit meals stage of your creative career, value that, because that time, that booking, that energy is an investment that someone is making in you, and it just hasn't materialized into the financial version that you know is coming, but you know it's coming. Getting clear on that mindset is what makes a really big difference about how to wrangle this money part of things, because there's no end of people who will ask you to work for free in showbiz. Best believe. Every day I am invited to work for free. And I say, oh, you want Bonnie Gillespie from a couple decades ago. She's not here. You have to be the one to decide when it's time to upgrade from working for free. And that comes with you having valued the experience that you got when you were working for free, so that you have the ability to confidently turn down something where you're being invited to work for free, because you know that that is the way you teach people that if they want you, they will pay you. And that is exactly how it works. So let's talk about survival jobs in general. One of the big things that we do in the 100 days, like there's a whole section on money, and it makes people hyperventilate a little bit. And I get it. Having conversations about money can be uncomfortable if you never grew up having conversations about money. And especially if you grew up only having conversations about money that were stressful. Like if you grew up in a household where if there was a conversation about money, it was not a positive one. You got some reparenting that you might got to do. It's important to do that. Get comfortable talking about money. Get comfortable talking about money in a way that is welcoming and appreciative for the exchange of value for value that it is, without underselling what it is that you are bringing to the table. You want it to not be a shock to your system the first time you get paid really well to do what you were put on this earth to do as a storyteller. Because if it's a shock to the system, it bounces out. Like that's why you see so many people who start to do well in a creative career and then they reach a certain tier and they spin out. It's because they've not yet fortified their enoughness to hold the success at that level. And that's some of the work that we're doing now that expands beyond the work that I do with actors and showbiz creatives every day, and extends to non-showbiz creative people, in that we are dealing with upper limit problems and these places where we don't have a place in our brain that feels safe to receive a certain amount of abundance because we've trained ourselves to expect so little. And so part of the conversation has to be from the beginning. I know that this investment is going to get bigger. And I know that people are going to start spending more on me. And here it comes. And each time it comes, it's yes, this is exactly what I was anticipating. And it's this or something better, this or something better every time, this or something better, this or something better every time. And those incremental upgrades make a really big difference over not so long a period of time. So one of the things that I cover in the 100 days that I'm going to give you a teeny bit about today in this live training, this is something that I find very important, and it is knowing of the jobs you're doing. Because if you're like most showbiz creatives, you have a bunch of different survival jobs. If you know what it is of each of the things that you're doing pays you how much and how much per hour, that knowledge is going to allow you to make some really strategic decisions about your time management. And that's what can get you out of a struggling artist mindset faster. And I'm seeing Douglas is saying, yes, the starving artist mindset is 100% bullshit. Yeah, it is. But it's also an agenda that is meant to be kept in place by people in positions of power. It's why I'm so into having actors create their own content so that we can become the people in positions of power and can make some decisions that shift some of these paradigms, because it is up to us. Good, Nadine. I'm glad that this is really resonating for you. Hello, Alita. It's so good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. What I really want, let me see real quick, Patricia over at YouTube, someone taught me long ago, you don't earn where you learn. Good to sometimes keep in mind. But you can. You can, Patricia. I see every set as a learning opportunity. So sure, there are times that you're going on a set just to learn and to build relationships, to get the footage, and you may not make money there, and that's okay. But I'm such a lifelong learner that I would hate to say that once I start getting paid well, I stop learning, because I learn every day. I learn every time I show up for one of these with y'all, and I get paid extremely well for what I do. So I yes and no on that. I see the mindset behind that, but let's go to the analyzing where you're making your money and how much per hour you make with each kind of thing you do. Because when I was working as an actor who had a bunch of different survival jobs, I knew that I made more money per hour tutoring than I made pet sitting. I also knew I made more money per hour teaching SAT prep courses, which is a part of the tutorial company that I worked for, than I did to teach improv comedy traffic school. I had a bunch of different survival jobs, and I always knew which ones paid better per hour so that I could get incredibly strategic with how I spent my time. Because when your money is not all the way up to where you want it to be, the leverage you have is in your time management and your energetic investment. And so what I would really like you to pay attention to, and especially if you don't like talking about money and you've never been brought up to have good, healthy conversations about money, and if you've been struggling with money, this is going to feel hard. I'm asking you to actually write down how much you make at every single thing you do. And you may be like, Auntie Bonnie, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's too scary. It's too scary. And I'm like, it's the monster under the bed. It's only scary while the lights are out and you're hiding your head under the cover. Grab that flashlight, turn it on, flick it under the bed. It's just a dust bunny. It is less scary when you put pen to paper and just do it. So this is a JFDI. This is just fucking do it. This is a JFDI exercise. Make a list of every dollar that you got coming in from every kind of job. And here's what might be interesting to learn is that you think you're benefiting yourself financially by saying yes every single time a bartending shift is offered. And so you're like, yep, I got to say yes. I got to say yes because I need that money. I got to say yes. But if you start to figure out that, oh, hang on, when I'm teaching this fitness class over here, when I'm instructing yoga, or when I'm doing personal training over here at the gym, I'm making way more per hour than I'm making slinging drinks at the bar. Maybe what I need to do is invest more time and energy in promoting my personal training business and my fitness endeavors rather than saying yes to another shift. Because I could say yes to an 8-hour shift, and sure, I make more money because I worked a long ass shift. But if I make more per hour doing personal training or a yoga class, then I need to do more of that because it pays better per hour, which then allows me to invest more time and energy into my creative career because I'm not so exhausted because I'm slinging drinks at a soul-sucking bartending job. Unless your soul-sucking bartending job ain't soul-sucking and you make really good money there, in which case keep saying yes to that and start saying yes less to the stuff that doesn't pay you as much per hour. There's a really big advantage that comes from getting super smart about how you're spending your energy. Because while I had a dozen different survival jobs, and as an actor, I've very much had a dozen different survival jobs, and I ran all over town chasing all that money in all those different places because I knew I was not taking a golden handcuffs job. I was not looking to roll around on a plastic pad behind a desk, working in some cube farm. Absolutely not. I knew that if I wanted to keep my hustle as an actor, I had to have a bunch of I don't care about it survival jobs so that any of them were disposable. If any of them said we can't use you anymore, it wasn't going to devastate me. And that was a part of how I built up my career at a time when I was transitioning from acting into writing and then eventually coaching and casting. So what I'm saying to you is the awareness of if I'm going to run all over town, let me make sure that it's worth the money per hour to do it, is going to give you the ability to be much choosier in what you say yes to, because it's not about like, I just need money, so I got to say yes to everything. It's, wait a minute, I'm making better money over here. I need to do something to promote this so that there's more of this and less of the thing that's running around, ragged, chase your money. Okay, Tyler's saying, oh, I so needed the stock 10 years ago. Well, Tyler, I'm glad you're getting it today, sweetheart. I'm so glad you're getting it today. Nazine is saying, I'm finally making money. It feels good to get the ball rolling. It does. Momentum is a beautiful thing. It is absolutely a beautiful, beautiful thing. Let me just real quick see here. Dana saying hi over at Periscope. Hello, hello. Good. Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure, Tucker. Thank you for watching on Periscope. Yeah. Awesome. Twinkie, thank you so much for bringing people over here. And Terry, you as well. I really do appreciate y'all bringing people over for the broadcast. Absolutely. Okay, I'm just making sure that I'm catching your comments here on the live. Melissa says, seriously considering seeking, I hope that doesn't mean porn, PRN work. I really hope that doesn't mean porn, Melissa. But if it does, I mean, hey, do you? I worked insanely hard for 3 years, still not giving me a raise because healthcare is changing and I'll get a raise someday. Yeah. You know what? When you're in a golden handcuffs job, they can get you on that. And they know they can. So a golden handcuffs job is one where they'll say, like, we are going to be completely supportive of your creative career. You can take time off and go on auditions, or when you book something or you got rehearsal or whatever, we're going to completely back you and be cool with you on that. And then you find that you're kind of stuck in a position where you can't leave that job because you don't have any other way of making money, but they're kind of trapping you, not making enough money that you can actually grow. And then you're not going out as much as you thought you would be. And that kind of stuff can get you stuck, painted into a corner really bad if you're not careful. Jennifer saying, I just checked in right after I got a request from Central. Hey, look at that abundance showing up for you. I love it. Terry says, this is over at Facebook. I grew up financially humble. We had what we needed, but not much more. When I started my sales career and got my first big sale, it freaked me out to get such a huge commission. Yeah. Had to decide I was worthy. It was a mental choice for me to continue, but it was a huge hurdle. But I did it. You speak truth about finally being successful and accepting that you're worth it. Y'all, look, you hear me regularly talking about how it's going to be when I'm sitting between the oak trees up in Santa Barbara with Oprah. I've been talking about that for 30 years. This is not new, and it is definitely much more on the horizon today than it ever has been. But I pre-pave for my highest and best every minute of every day, because that's part of the work. The coach up here has full-time access. And if that coach up there is saying you suck, you don't deserve it, who do you think you are? Oh, just diminish it. It's little. Or when you get something big, oh, it's a fluke. Don't be showy about it. Like, I'm not telling you to go around being an asshole about your money, but I'm saying you got to believe that you deserve it, that absolutely it showed up because there's an exchange of value for value that is representative of what you're putting out in the world. If you don't get that shit rewired, it's going to be really challenging for any of that success to stick around. Natalie says over at YouTube, it seems to work better for me if I save up from an office job and then take time off to act, which makes it hard to accept copy credit meals jobs. And then she asks, is it possible to skip that tier? It's almost impossible to skip copy credit meals. It's almost impossible. That doesn't mean it's not impossible. It's just really difficult because you've got to build relationships. And if you're not actively building relationships somehow, and copy credit meals tends to be the first way in to do that, it is going to be challenging to be able to take that kind of time away from work and only say yes to paying jobs. Because what have you done to build relationships with the people who are hiring for paying jobs when there's somebody else who's been working with them since they didn't have a nickel to pay them? So that's the thing to keep in mind with that. Vanita is saying over at Facebook, that's my struggle at the moment. My survival job is a whole other career on its own that pays me much better than other things would, but takes a lot of mental and emotional energy. So I go back and forth on whether it makes more sense to take a less paying but easier job or keep the high paying job that minimizes the number of hours I physically work, but not mentally. Vanita, that was it ultimately for me. I did have a golden handcuffs job when I first moved to LA in 93. I worked at a recording artist management firm and record label. So I worked in the industry, and it's where I learned a lot of the stuff that self-management for actors is actually based on, was in the recording industry. And you want to talk about a place where you can track patterns and figure out what's going on, but also people are completely weird about money. Recording industry. So we could just do a whole thing on that. But we won't. I was in a job that I never could clock out of. Every minute that I wasn't there, I was thinking about the work that happens there. And I knew when I came back to LA in 98, I was never going to say yes to a job like that again. And it paid extremely well, better than any job that anybody in my family had ever had. And here I was like 23, 24, just like making ridiculous money and working with celebrities and feeling like, oh, I'm fancy. This is good. I'm in the industry. I could totally make it at any moment. It's like, how are you going to make it? You can't even go be in a student film because you are, backstage with Meatloaf at his concert. And it's like, I love believe me, I got a lot of love for the jobs that I had at that time. However, I knew when I came back in 98, I had to choose the hustle. I had to choose multiple disposable survival jobs. Because I was not going to maintain my actor hustle if I didn't say no, because I'm real easy to employ. I get hired very easily and I get raises very easily and I get promoted very easily. And I don't want to be the head of everything that I do. I wanted to build my own empire. And so ultimately, whether that was going to be acting or what it turned out to be with writing and coaching and going and touring around the world, teaching and speaking, like this kind of work, all came from my ability to say no to the opportunities to earn a lot more money a lot earlier. But what I was doing was banking on, I know there's a future me who's going to be making way more than this, but I got to get through these early years piecing together, sometimes lean times, piecing things together, because I know there's a future me who doesn't exist if I keep rising to the top in survival jobs. So that ability to clock out mentally and really do the work of being a working actor, it's an important conversation to have with yourself. And I know you're doing the SMFA summer school with us, so I of course will continue to have this conversation with you in the dojo. Let me put that link up again for people who would like to join us here. Is it this one? It is tinyurl.com/next tier if you want to register for our live round, because we will be closing registration on Friday and you do not want to miss your chance to do this live round of the 100 days with us. But the question I have for you, Vanita, would be, and we can talk about this more in the dojo, but the question I have for you would be, can you take time off from your job and with the money that you've made, invest in producing your own feature film and take a couple weeks off and produce your own project so that you're able to kind of make up for some of the things that you've had to miss because you had that kind of a job? Just something to think about. Amy. Hello, Amy. So good to see you, sweetheart. I'm so excited to continue working with you this summer. I'm fortunate in that my side hustles have been paying well enough for the last few years, but realizing that some of them are stressing me out so much physically, mentally, that I had no energy outside of it. That's been the shift for me. Amy, bless you, girl. When you start realizing that there is a toll for that energy, that's massive. That's massive. Because you have to have a full well to pull from as an artist. And if you're constantly depleted by the things that you're doing for money, you have to ask yourself, well, if I'm too exhausted to go after the dream that I'm here to pursue when I do have time away from my job because my job depletes me so much, is there an energetic cost that is far greater than what it is that I'm making per hour? And I'm glad that you had that kind of aha moment about it. It's a challenging one. It really is. I get it. Hello, Laura. So glad you could join us. Thank you, sweetheart. Let's see. Amalia, love this. My issue is that I can make more per hour teaching private yoga, but then I have several flaky clients that often cancel on me. And then if they do, it's harder for me to pick up the last minute hours doing flight attending. Here's your tip, sweetheart. Get paid up front. Get paid up front. This was a big one for me. A few years back, I realized that I had been brought up in an environment of get paid after you've done the work, because then you feel like you get a reward for doing the work. And that was my mom growing up, Depression era. Like that was a very typical mindset of the, do the work, have something to look forward to, and then here's your money. Hooray, I got a reward for the work. And I started analyzing the millionaires in my life, because there are more than a couple, and I looked at what they all have in common, and I'm like, you know what? They get paid to start work. They don't get paid to finish work. They're not clocking a clock here. Like they're not punching a clock and then getting a paycheck 2 weeks later. They get paid to start work. And when I changed my business model that all my coaching clients pay to coach with me weeks, sometimes months before we actually do the one-on-one session, I ain't never had a no-show again. So change your policy. Change your policy. Get paid up front. Everybody will show up. Best believe. They will. They figure it out. It's amazing how that works. Natalie says at YouTube, would it make sense to go back to school to build up relationships? It can, Natalie. There are some people who find great value in going to film school and connecting with people like that. But also as an actor, you don't have to be enrolled in school to benefit from the relationships that you can create in student films, especially because the older you are, the less likely there's competition for you at the school, meaning you are in a different age category potentially the older you get, which means you don't have to go back to school in order to get to be cast in a whole bunch of student films because they don't have anybody your age necessarily. And I'm not talking about you specifically. This is more general. Good. I'm so glad you're enjoying this. Kate, good to see you. What if you're in a relationship with someone who has judgment about people who are wealthy and a real chip on their shoulder about it? Is he dragging me down maybe? Kate, girl, that's a bigger question, right? You can only clean up your own money mindset. And this is where I really like the philosophy of being a lighthouse. And we do that a lot in the 100 days. Your work is to be a lighthouse and emanate the light that feels good to you and to your soul and for your life and your creative journey. And there are going to be some people who are attracted to that light and show you what it feels like to be around people who love that light. And then there are going to be some people who complain that light's too bright. And that is a big one. Money differences can be big. Like my money story was, I attract money easily, but it always immediately goes away. And so every time I would have any kind of big money, it would immediately get sucked right back out with some emergency, always something like really bad. And that was my childhood. That was like, we were fine and then we weren't fine. And when we were not fine, we were so not fine that it was, government supported lunch and hand-me-down clothes and being ripped out of my school and the whole, like just so I got a lot of rewiring that as an adult I had to do to say, not only can I attract money easily, but I can hold it. And Keith's money story was, I'm not safe until there's a certain amount in the bank. And so as partners, we had to lean on each other for what helps you feel best about our money story, and how collectively can we lean on each other to tell the overall best money story picture for us and where we want to grow. And that required that sometimes I had to put up with him having lower enoughness about money than I do because I knew it didn't benefit me to go down where he was. And then I had to really listen to what he needed and help him get up to a place financially where he would feel more confident. And then he had to prove that was right, that once he got up to that place, he could clean up his mindset about it. But that's a relationship question way more than it's a money question. Good, Kimberly, banking on future you. Add it to your journal, girl. You know it. You know it because if you believe that future you has all this stuff taken care of, then you can make some bolder decisions right now. But you got to believe that. You got to believe that. Becky says you can make it enough to make it last if you budget well. Yes. Budgeting is a part of this for sure. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on here. Beautiful package paid up front for multiple clients. Yep, absolutely. That's how to do it. That's how to do it. Beautiful people. Let's see. Nazine is saying many independent productions in Albuquerque, New Mexico, most supportive filmmaking community, and we welcome people from all over the U.S. to come and join us. We have the resources and great tax incentives. She's doing a plug for film and television in Albuquerque. I love it. Nazine, you go, girl. That's awesome. If anybody wants to join in, let me know. I'll help you make connections. I love that. Y'all rock. This community is so awesome. I have really enjoyed getting to spend these 20 days with y'all. We're going to do it again tomorrow for day 20. Can you believe it? Tomorrow is day 20. It is the final day of free live streaming training for SMFA, celebrating 20 years of advice with me. Oh my gosh, tomorrow we are going to do your business plan. We're going to talk very specifically about action items that you can take every damn day so that your business is being run like a business because it's a business. So make sure that you're back here joining me. Again, go to bonniegillespie.com/20 to be sure you're getting notifications when we go live, as well as to see where our replays are posted. Come on over to the Facebook version if you want to participate in comments, because we will keep those open long after the live is over. You beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining me. I've enjoyed this exchange of value for value. And those of you who would like to exchange some actual money value for the value, come on over and register for SMFA Summer School at Getting Gear for the Next Year Live, because we are going to engage in this kind of beauty for the entire summer. I'm so freaking excited. Beautiful people, thank you so much. Till next time, stay ninja. Woohoo!